Hello, everyone. Today, we're diving into a realm often misunderstood, a destination whispered about in sagas and craved by every Viking warrior, Valhalla. You think you know Valhalla, don't you? A glorious hall, eternal feasting, endless battles, and the chosen few, the brave, the fallen, welcomed by Odin himself. But what if I told you that the golden gates of Valhalla are far more selective, far more terrifyingly precise than any legend suggests? What if mere bravery, even a heroic death, isn't enough? What if the path to Odin's hall is a razor's edge, a cosmic lottery where even the most valiant can find themselves eternally adrift, forever denied the ultimate glory? Imagine for a moment the chill wind whipping off the fjord, the salt spray on your face, the roar of battle echoing in your ears, the primal scream of 100 warriors converging. Your axe sings, a gruesome lullaby painting the snow crimson, and you fight with the untamed fury of a berserker, a smile on your lips, knowing that a glorious death means a seat among the Einherjar, Odin's honored champions. This is the Viking dream, isn't it? To fall honorably, to be carried by the Valkyries, the choosers of the slain, to the hallowed halls of the Allfather, to drink from the horns of victory and prepare for the ultimate war. But the truth, the chilling, brutal truth, is that for every warrior who dares to dream of Valhalla, countless others, equally brave, equally fierce, found themselves denied. Their swords were sharp, their shields unyielding, their hearts knew no fear. Yet the gates of Asgard remained shut. Why? Because the entry requirements for Valhalla are not just strict, they are an enigma wrapped in prophecy, a divine decree that separates the chosen from the vast, countless fallen. This isn't a story of simple heroism. This is a tale of destiny's cruel hand, of divine intervention, and the terrifying, meticulous bureaucracy of the Norse afterlife. It's a chilling reminder that even in death, a warrior's fate is a puppet to the god's will. So steel your resolve, for we are about to journey into the heart of a warrior's deepest hope and most profound fear, a journey that will challenge everything you thought you knew about the Vikings. Before we even approach the gilded gates, we must first understand the vast, often grim landscape of the Norse afterlife. Valhalla isn't the only destination, nor is it a guaranteed one. Many paths diverge from the blood-soaked fields of battle, each leading to a profoundly different eternity. There is Helheim, the bleak, misty, often icy realm of the goddess Hel, daughter of Loki. This is the ultimate destination for those who die of sickness, old age, or any death deemed unmanly fey, the dreaded straw death. Can you grasp the sheer horror for a Viking warrior, a life spent honing every combat skill, enduring brutal winters, facing down enemies with unwavering courage, only to wither away in bed, consumed by fever or the slow decay of years, to be denied the warrior's death, to be destined for a cold, joyless eternity, far from the glory of Odin, is the deepest shame, the ultimate dishonor. Helheim is not a place of torment in the fire and brimstone sense, but rather a realm of silent dread, of perpetual grey twilight, where joy is a forgotten word and glory an empty echo. It is the ultimate dishonor, a fate worse than any defeat in battle, a fate that hangs heavy over every Viking long before they lift an axe. It is the constant, unspoken fear that drove them to seek battle, to embrace danger, to defy the very concept of a natural end. Then there's Vang, the beautiful, expansive field of the goddess Freyja, where she claims half of those slain in battle. A magnificent hall called Sessa Faemnir, the seat room, awaits them there. This is a critical distinction, often overlooked. Half, not all. So even if you die bravely, blade in hand, with your war cry on your lips, there's a 50-50 chance you might end up with Freyja, not Odin. And while Fekvangra is undoubtedly a noble destination, a place of honor, perhaps even more serene and less demanding than Valhalla, it is not Valhalla. It's a subtle distinction in the grand scheme of the cosmos. But for a warrior whose entire life, whose every breath, was fueled by the obsessive pursuit of Odin's favor, it's everything. The choice, it seems, isn't even entire. It is a divine lottery, drawn on the blood, soaked earth, a cosmic coin toss where the stakes are eternal glory or a different, albeit still honorable, path. This brings us to the ultimate prize, the glittering pinnacle of a warrior's afterlife, the very heart of Asgard, Valhalla, a colossal hall in Asgard, its roof thatched with golden shields, spears serving as its rafters, and benches covered in gleaming chainmail, 540 doors, each wide enough for 800 warriors to march abreast, ready for war. A place of endless feasting on the meat of the beasts Fenir, the magical boar, endlessly resurrected by the cook and her Fenir, and rivers of mead flowing from the udder of the goat. Fein, who grazes on the leaves of the world. Tree Yggdrasil. Sounds idyllic, doesn't it? A warrior's paradise, a timeless revelry. But beneath the celebratory roar, beneath the clinking of horns and the clash of steel, a darker, far more demanding truth lurks. Valhalla is not merely a reward, it is a training ground, an eternal boot camp, a divine army constantly being assembled and honed. For what? For Ragnarök, the twilight of the gods. Every feast is a temporary respite from endless training. Every drink a toast not just to past victories, but to the cataclysmic battles yet to come. The Einherjar, Odin's chosen warriors, are destined to fight alongside him and the other Aesir gods when the giants, the monsters, and the forces of chaos descend upon Asgard, shaking the very foundations of creation. Their eternal vigilance, their perpetual readiness, their unceasing martial practice is the core purpose of Valhalla. It is a glorious cage, a gilded destiny from which there is no escape. So how does one earn this terrifying privilege, this eternal soldiering for the Allfather? It's far more intricate than simply falling in battle, as popular culture often suggests. The most fundamental requirement, yes, is to die a glorious death in combat. Weapon in hand, a final, defiant act of valor. No sickness, no old age, no accidents, no cowardly retreat. This much is widely known, a cornerstone of Viking belief. But this is precisely where the popular understanding often falls woefully short. It is not fey-just, fey-dying. It's dying in a face-specific way, chosen by face-specific beings, and serving a face-specific fey-divine purpose. Enter the Valkyries, the choosers of the slain. These aren't just ethereal, beautiful maidens guiding souls with gentle hands. They are formidable warrior women, cloaked in the grim majesty of battle, Odin's fierce handmaidens who ride across blood, soaked battlefields on their winged steeds, their cloaks stained with the gore of warriors, their piercing eyes scanning, judging, selecting. They are the ultimate arbiters, the divine recruiters, the cold, dispassionate agents of fate. Imagine the scene, the chaos of battle, the deafening clash of steel on shield, the guttural screams of the dying, the acrid scent of blood and fear mingling with the salty sea air. Amidst this primal maelstrom, a shadow falls, a majestic figure on horseback, gleaming armor catching the flickering light, a winged helmet, a spear gripped tight. Is she coming for you? Is her gaze fixed upon your struggling form, seeing the spark of Odin's chosen? Or will she pass you by, a phantom of glory, leaving your soul to drift to the cold, grey embrace of Helheim, the suspense for a warrior? In those final, agonizing moments must have been unbearable. Every swing of the axe, every desperate block of the shield, every wound taken was not just about survival, but about proving worthy, catching the discerning eye of these celestial selectors. It was a desperate plea to fate, a final bloody audition. But what precisely are the criteria the Valkyries use? This is the crucial, chilling part, the nexus of hope and despair. It is not simply, it's about fulfilling a divine prophecy, serving Odin's ultimate, grand design, a cosmic jigsaw puzzle where each piece must fit perfectly. The Valkyries are not swayed by sentimental valor or a warrior's heartfelt desire. They are looking for souls with a specific martial spirit, a particular destiny, a soul whose very essence resonates with the impending doom of Ragnarök. They seek those who will make the most potent, the most resilient, the most strategically vital additions to Odin's immense army for the final war. This implies a predetermined fate, a cosmic ledger where your worth is tallied, your destiny etched long before your last breath. You could be the fiercest Jarl, the most feared raider, a titan of the battlefield. But if your death doesn't fit the divine calculus, if it doesn't align with the prophecies whispered by the Norns, you are simply not chosen. Your valiant struggle, your heroic fall, becomes merely a footnote in the annals of mortal men, forgotten by the gods. Consider the legendary warrior Halmar, renowned for his bravery, who died in battle, but not in a way that truly served Odin's grand apocalyptic plan, or the countless nameless berserkers who fought with insane, untamed fury, their bodies immune to pain, their minds consumed by battle, lust, but perhaps their death was too chaotic, too isolated, not a part of the grand tapestry. The sagas are replete with heroes, but not all of them, explicitly or implicitly, end up in Valhalla. This is the silent dread that gnaws at a warrior's soul, doing everything right, fighting with unparalleled courage, offering your life as a sacrifice, only for the Valkyries to deem your death, for reasons utterly unknown to mortals, insufficient, a rejection from the gods themselves. The fear of a straw death was not just pervasive, it was an existential terror. To die ignominiously of a sickness or the slow creep of old age was to be condemned to Helheim, a realm of perpetual twilight, of shadows and despair. No feasting, no joyous training, no glorious purpose. Just a slow, unending decline, an eternity of quiet misery. This profound fear drove Vikings to seek battle with almost suicidal zeal, to risk all, not just for plunder or renown, but for the sacred, inviolable promise of a glorious end. They would often throw themselves onto their own swords if capture or a lingering, debilitating illness seemed imminent, desperate to cheat hell's cold embrace and earn a place with Odin, or at the very least, fragile. This is the profound psychological impact of Valhalla's strictures. It wasn't just a hope. It was a desperate, all-consuming obsession that dictated how they lived, and more importantly, how they faded fey. Their entire worldview was shaped by this singular, terrifying aspiration. Now, let's peel back another layer of this grim, glorious tapestry. Even if a warrior dies with a sword in hand, in the thick of battle, chosen by a Valkyrie, there are still intricate nuances, unwritten rules that govern the ultimate judgment. Some scholars and sagas suggest that the fey manner fey of death mattered greatly, not just the fact of it. A warrior who falls in a desperate last-stand defense, protecting their kin, their chieftain, or their sacred land against overwhelming odds, might be more favored than one who falls in a common skirmish for loot or territory. It's about the fate-purposed fey of the death, the profound sacrifice. Was it for personal glory, or was it for something larger, something that resonated with the very fabric of the whispers of ancient prophecies? The looming portents of Ragnarök undoubtedly guided Odin's hand in the Valkyries' selection process. He needed an army, yes, but an army of specific caliber, specific lineage, and above all, specific sacrifice. A warrior who falls while defending the very essence of the cosmos is more valuable than one who falls in a mere ball. Think of it. You've spent your entire life training, enduring unimaginable hardships, raiding distant shores, conquering new lands. You've faced countless foes, always with the image of Valhalla burning like a beacon in your mind's eye. And then, in your final, agonizing moments, as the axe descends with crushing force or the spear pierces your vital organs, you glance up through a haze of blood and pain. Do you see the Valkyrie? Her horse rearing majestically, her hand outstretched in divine invitation, or do you see only the fading light, the encroaching darkness, a silent, chilling refusal, a divine shoulder shrugged? This uncertainty, this constant, existential gamble, must have been an unbearable burden, yet also the greatest motivator, pushing warriors to ever greater feats of. It is the ultimate paradox. To live fearlessly, to embrace the chaos of battle, one must first confront the terrifying uncertainty of death's true, eternal reward. Every heartbeat was a prayer, every battle a testament, every death a judgment. This leads us to the core conflict, the true dramatic heart of the Viking ethos, the warrior's destiny versus the gods. A warrior can control their actions in battle, their bravery, their skill, their defiance in the face of overwhelming odds, but they cannot control the ultimate judgment of the Valkyries, nor the supreme, often mysterious, decision of Odin himself. It is a system that elevates divine decree above even the most heroic mortal effort, adding a layer of cosmic fatalism to every Viking's life. Were some born with a destiny for Valhalla, their fate etched in the stars by the Norns, while others, no matter their valor, no matter their bloodshed, were always destined for Helheim or Fekvangra. This question, haunting and ultimately unanswered, must have fueled both immense ambition and profound despair, a constant wrestling with the whims of the gods. What if a warrior, through no fault of their own, was struck down by an arrow from afar, not seeing the face of their enemy, denied the glorious face? To face combat they craved, or fell into a bog during a desperate retreat and drowned, their body lost to the earth. Their last breath not a defiant roar, but a desperate gasp. Even if their heart was pure and their intent noble, such deaths often lacked the glory. The dramatic flourish, the public spectacle required for Valhalla, the concept of a good death was meticulously defined, not just by mortal men, but by divine expectation. It wasn't just about dying for a cause, it was about the fey spectacle, fey of it, the fey impact, fey of it, the fey in it, a death worthy of song, worthy of the Skald's verses, worthy of the gods' direct and undeniable attention, a death that would resonate through the ages, not just on Midgard, but in the very halls of Asgard. No, imagine being one of the Einherjar in Valhalla. You made it, you pass the ultimate test. The mead flows like rivers of gold, the feasts are endless, and you train daily for the final, greatest. Every single morning, as the first light breaks over Asgard, you rise, don your armor, and clash in mock combat, honing your skills against your fellow fallen heroes, falling countless times, only to rise again, healed instantly, ready for the next round. This isn't a retirement home, it is a barracks, a perpetual training camp, a glorious, blood-soaked, eternal barracks where every waking moment is the weight of Ragnarök, the impending twilight of the gods, hangs heavy over every celebration, a constant somber counterpoint to the revelry. The knowledge that one day the chilling horn of Heimdall will sound, the call will come, the 540 doors of Valhalla will swing open, and you will march out with Odin and the other Aesir gods to face the inevitable, against giants, against monsters, against the very forces. It is a reward, yes, but also a never-ending service, a perpetual state of readiness for a cosmic war that will decide the fate of all creation. This constant preparation in Valhalla, this relentless honing of martial skill, highlights the true terrifying purpose of Odin's selection. He isn't gathering souls for their comfort, their peace, or their eternal rest. He is assembling an army, a vast host of the greatest warriors from across time, from every generation of humanity, to stand against the forces of chaos when the world tree Yggdrasil trembles and the final battle begins. Every warrior chosen is not just an individual hero, they are a cog in a grand divine machine, their individual glory serving a far greater apocalyptic purpose. Their lives and their deaths are not entirely their own. They are threads in the tapestry of destiny woven by the Norns, observed and guided by Odin, whose foresight into Ragnarök drives his every action. Let's consider the profound cultural implications of these strict and often opaque requirements. This belief system wasn't just mythology or fanciful tales, it was the very framework of Viking society. It shaped how they lived, how they fought, and how they viewed the ultimate finality of death. It instilled a unique, powerful blend of fatalism and extreme, almost suicidal bravery. Knowing that your ultimate destination depended not just on your life, but on the feic manner, fey of your death, pushed them to seek glorious, defiant ends. It's why Viking funerals were so elaborate. They were honoring those who, they desperately hoped, had made the cut, who had ascended to Odin's hall, their souls eternally intertwined with the fate of Asgard. The psychological pressure on a Viking warrior, from the youngest age, must have been immense. Every single skirmish, every raid, every clash of shields was a potential audition for Valhalla. Every wound, every fleeting moment of fear had to be suppressed, transformed into a renewed surge of fury. They were constantly performing for unseen judges, for the Valkyries hovering above, for Odin himself, watching from his high seat. This wasn't just about surviving, it was about dying correctly, dying with such valor and purpose that the gods could not ignore it. It bred a culture of relentless courage, a stoicism in the face of death that continues to fascinate and confound us even today. Their defiance wasn't just against mortal enemies, it was against the very concept of an ignoble end, against the dark fate of Helheim. The stories of those who farded and make it to Valhalla are often left untold, lost in the shadows, or condemned to the chilling. They are the silent majority, the unchosen, the ones who illustrate the brutal selectivity of Valhalla more powerfully than any tale of glorious entry. They are the constant, terrifying counterpoint to the warrior's dream, a shadow that stretched across every battlefield. Imagine the crushing despair of a warrior fallen valiantly in a skirmish, only to feel their spirit being drawn not upwards to the vibrant light of Asgard, but downwards to the cold, the mist, the endless grey of Hell's domain. The horrifying realization that all their bravery, all their struggle, all their blood spilled, had been for naught in the inscrutable eyes of the god. Their ultimate destiny, a fate they fought against their entire lives, now irrevocably sealed. This subtle, yet profound distinction in the Norse afterlife speaks volumes about their worldview. Life was a continuous battle, a relentless struggle for survival and glory, and death was merely the ultimate, most critical battle, a final examination of one's worth. Your success in this final cosmic contest determined your eternal station, your purpose beyond the veil. It wasn't about moral rectitude, or a lifetime of good deeds, or adherence to a strict code of ethics, as in some other mythologies. It was about raw, unyielding martial prowess, a fearless heart, and perhaps most crucially, the circumstances of your final breath, a death deemed. It was a system built on glory, sacrifice, and the relentless, fated march towards Ragnarök, a world-ending war for which every chosen warrior was but a single, indispensable sword. So when we speak of Valhalla, remember it's not just a glorious afterlife. It is a sacred trust, a divine summons, an eternal commitment to a cosmic war. It is a destiny carved in steel and sealed in blood, a path so narrow that only a select few, hand-picked by the gods themselves, could ever hope to tread it. It's a place earned not just by simple bravery, but by a precise, almost surgical, divine selection, a death that served the grandest, most terrifying purpose of all. Thank you for joining us on this gripping journey into the mysteries of the Norse afterlife. If you found this exploration of Valhalla's harsh truths as captivating as we did, please don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with fellow mythology enthusiasts, and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the ancient world's most compelling, often chilling tales. Your support truly helps us bring these stories to life and continue our quest through forgotten legends. That is all for today's video. Thank you for watching.